Hello, 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 everyone. I hope that you are doing absolutely amazing today. And I hope that you're doing like I'm working to do right now, and that is called sharing. I am sharing this live right now. So, what I need you to do is go to wherever you are watching right now, and I need you to click that share button. I need you to share. And like right now, it's new technologies. I'm working to share from this page. And right now, this page is not working with me. Uh, but I'm going to share. And so I'm going to invite you to do the same. It is so important that as leaders, we do what we have to do to share information with other people. Because as leaders, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be stingy with information. We're supposed to be sharing information. Are you doing that? Are you sharing? Are you? I'm asking. I don't hear anything. Are you sharing? All right, get on your share. So I know you're like, who is this crazy lady and forcing me to share this broadcast? Well, I am Dr. Renita, and I am so excited to be here with you for Leadership Live Week 35, Leadership Live 2021, Week 35. Did you hear? Did you hear? We are week 35 of 2021, and I am so excited to share with you once again. I promised you at the top of 2021 that I would bring 52 amazing guests to you because some of you all may have caught me back in 2019 when I did this all by myself for 52 weeks. I came live to share with you Leadership Live, sharing my leadership journey, my stories, the lessons that I've learned. And here I am back in 2021, not just with me, but with friends and some amazing friends at that. And for the past 34 weeks, you have experienced 34 different guests who have brought to you amazing stories of triumphs, of trials, of learning, of leading, all the good stuff. And week 35 will be no different. Well, for those of you all who have never, ever, ever seen me before and never caught me on my broadcast before, I am Dr. Renita, and I am an educational leadership strategist, which means that I love to work with aspiring and growing leaders to help them become more authentic in their leadership, to empower their fellowship, and at the end of the day, have a mighty great impact on the world. And I do that through group coaching. I do that through coaching one-on-one. I do it through trainings, workshops, speaking engagements, and through written works. And so I love that work because I know this is a way for me to impact the world in an amazing way. I am also the author of Stepmom, Trials, Tribulations, and Triumphs, editions 1 and 2, as well as While You Are Sleeping, The Perfect Children of All Ages book. Yes. And that stepmom journey, that came from my real life because I'm a wife and mother of four. Yes, 4 children. I birthed 2 and I own 2. And that ownership of those 2 took me on a mighty journey of amazingness, which led to Stepmom. I am also the founder of The Refining Life, a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide you with experiences to have your mindset shifted so that you can lead a more positive and productive life. And for those of you all out there, my ladies out there, September is bringing us once again Refining the Mind Women's Conference 2021. Look out for more details starting on Wednesday. I am also a queen and a queen. I'm a queen and a queen. I am the current reigning Mrs. Black North Carolina, as well as the Elite Southern Charms North Carolina Ultimate Grand Supreme. And what all that just means is that I get to lead in a lot of different ways. And I love what I do. I love inspiring others and changing the lives of others. But it's not all about me today. No, it is not. I have another amazing guest for you. I told you that I would, and I promise you, every week I'm going to have somebody new and amazing. So let me not, belabor this moment and bring in this amazing woman, Olivia Sula-Wang. She's here. She's here. She's here. Hello, Olivia.
Hello, Dr. Renita. How are you? I'm so excited to be here.
I am just over the moon to have you for just so you all know, I had the opportunity to meet Olivia about 3 years ago. It was virtually just like this. And by happenstance, some would think, but I believe that nothing happens just for no reason, that it was this moment that reconnected me with someone else who reconnected me back with Olivia. And I believe that those things are purposeful. So Olivia, I'm going to step out. I'm going to let you have the stage right now and tell the people about you and a little bit about your topic for today.
Sure. Yes. Thank you for being here. Oh, we are going to have so much fun, you guys. Seriously, share. This is my first time on this platform here. And I wish I could share. I don't really know how to do it. I'm not known for my tech prowess, but I am going to share myself with you. And that's all I can do. Right. So again, as Dr. Renee said, my name is Olivia Sula-Wang, and I am 45 years old. I'm a mother. I'm married. I have a 6-year-old. We have a 6-year-old daughter, and we have twin boys coming out in probably 1 to 2 weeks, believe it or not. It is amazing. You're probably looking at me like, she looks really skinny on the video. It's actually my wife. My wife is carrying. I carried my daughter, or our daughter, 6 years old, and I said, I am done, one and done. It's your turn. That's the neat thing about being married to another lady, is that she can take that responsibility of carrying twins. And so I have been an entrepreneur for actually just a few days, over 10 years. I can't even believe it. And so I want to share with you a little bit about my journey of how I sort of became a full-time entrepreneur. I was actually born in this country. I was born in Massachusetts to an immigrant parents. My parents were both born in mainland China. They fled. They come from a highly educated sort of background. And because of that, they were persecuted. And so they both fled. Their families fled to Taiwan. My dad narrowly escaped with his life and just some simple belongings, really, that were his family members. And then they both came to this country eventually to pursue higher education. And so when I was born, it's just my older sister. She's 8 years older than myself. My sister is now a judge in a federal magistrate judge, actually, in this country. And when I came out, I was raised in a very traditional type of environment, a very traditional mentality. Go to school, get some degrees, work hard, get some more degrees, go find a nice big company and work at a desk and spend the rest of your life there, get married, have 2.5 kids, white picket fence, don't complain, just work hard and life will all turn out okay. So I watched my parents as a little girl work really hard. They did everything that they thought were expected of them, but their life didn't really turn out that way. And I saw my family struggle with money, and I saw my parents have to file bankruptcy, and just really, we never were for want of food or shelter or basic necessities. But we certainly didn't have the life that we saw on TV or even that my friends were experiencing. We didn't go out to eat in restaurants. And, most of my clothes were secondhand clothes from my older sister. And so I developed this very strange relationship with money. And today, Dr. Renita and I were going to chat with you guys about how to attract and develop financial abundance in your life. So I did not come from a financially abundant mentality or a household. So I did what I saw my parents do and go to school. And I went to Stanford University for my undergraduate. Didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. Went overseas and taught English in Asia for a year. Came back, went to UC Berkeley for my law school, just because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I thought, if I go to law school for 3 years, I can delay that decision. I knew that I wanted to make a difference in this world. I knew I wanted to help people, but I didn't know what that was actually going to look like in a career. So I went to law school, and I came out of law school. I said, well, I don't really want to be a lawyer, but I have all these law school loans, and let me get some loan forgiveness and go work at a nonprofit. So I spent the first 4 years after law school working at a nonprofit up in San Francisco that worked for survivors of domestic violence and their families. Really enjoyed that work. Made $30,000 a year. Gross income. So again, not really financially doing that well. And this is in San Francisco, which even back then was very, very expensive. My net income was $1,800 a month. $600 of that $1,800 went straight back out to paying my student loans. And I was living with food and rent and everything else, car payment, everything, $1,200 a month. So I did that for 4 years. And I was really proud of the work that I did. We actually changed laws as a young attorney. We changed laws here in California that then impacted the rest of the country in terms of how the criminal justice system handles women who come in with a prior history of domestic violence. And but I was getting a little bit burned out. And I went and backpacked around Central South America for 6 months, did some soul searching, figure out what I really wanted to do with my life, moved to LA. And then what was supposed to be a 2-year stint as a deputy public defender turned into a 5-year stint, which turned into a 10 plus year stint. And I ended up practicing law a total of 15 years, over 15 years full time. I got introduced to this concept of entrepreneurship 10 years ago. I wasn't looking for it, just kind of, as Dr. Renita said, I mean, I don't believe there's such thing as just a coincidence. I think everything's sort of supposed to happen based on the intentionality you put out there and the law of attraction. And I was probably putting out there, I was dissatisfied in my current position enough that I was searching for something else. I was searching for a change. And my friend was an entrepreneur, and she invited me to talk about to share with me entrepreneurship. That's why it's so important to share this podcast. And I started learning about entrepreneurship, and I ended up just kind of building up my own business in the financial industry part-time, and then transitioned on my 40th birthday full-time. And what I did was I walked away from my government job of a pension and $140,000 a year income and 2 retirement plans where they matched me 4% each plan. I walked away from all that safety and security with a newborn to come full-time into entrepreneurship because I really wanted my life to have meaning, and I really wanted to make a much bigger difference in other people's lives. And I wanted to make more than $140,000 a year, which you can probably see in the background. It's bright out here. I'm in Los Angeles, California. I know a lot of you guys are on the East Coast and it's evening time out there. But $140,000 doesn't go as far in LA as it does maybe North Carolina. And so that's kind of like minimum wage here. And so after they took out for taxes and everything, I was clearing about $7,000, $7,000 to $8,000 a month, which wasn't enough to pay for my mom's care. My mom was struggling with dementia, and we had to private pay several thousands of dollars a month for that. My daughter's school was almost $2,000. My mortgage was $2,000 and some change. And so it just wasn't enough money to go around. And so I'm so thankful I made the shift from just being a kind of 9-to-5er. Really, it wasn't a 9-to-5. It was more like a 7-to-7 job, 7-to-7er, I guess you could say, into full-time entrepreneurship, because I live a life that if you had described my life to me just a few years ago, I would have said that's not possible for me to live that type of lifestyle, where I just, like this week, I'm going to earn about over $33,000 this week. So if you had said to me just even 3, 4, 5 years ago that this would be my income as an entrepreneur, I would say there's absolutely no way. I don't come from one of those families. I have a very dysfunctional relationship with money, and yet here I am. And so I can't wait to get in this conversation, Dr. Renita, so we can really talk about these ways in which I think any one of your listeners right now can change their lives and change their financial destinies.
Wow. Okay, so there are about 100 million things that we could talk about right now. We have an hour, and I don't know how we're going to get it all in, but my goodness, such a rich background. Just the backstory is so rich. But there's something in particular that you talked about, and you talked about it in 2 different ways. It kind of your story when you were going from your transition from stability and law life and the retirement funds. But to me, it connected back to something you said earlier. You talked about coming from a family that was in this high stress, crazy situation and immigrated to the US, and you did not grow up with this kind of, traditional financial abundance. You had a very unique relationship with money. It wasn't a whole lot of like stability there. And then you put yourself in a situation where you take yourself right back out of stability. Mm-hmm. So that, once again, there are a million things that you talked about that I want to touch on, but that resonated so much with me, that you would intentionally take yourself out and put yourself back in a situation that you've been in that you knew was kind of feeling.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And when you put yourself back in it, that type of risk. But we're talking about financial abundance and attracting it and going towards it, yet you take yourself right out of it to get to it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
To me about that decision, because I can only imagine what kind of triggers that moment could have happened?
Sure. So let me flesh out my background a little bit more because I kind of skipped over a lot of stuff. I moved in my entire life. By the time I got to college, I moved every 2-ish years of my life. Born in Massachusetts, moved around Massachusetts 3 times by the time I was age 9. Age 9, moved out to Arizona. In Arizona, moved around 3 more times until I was age 14. Age 14, I moved out to North Carolina to go live with my sister. I was 14 years old. And the reason being, I moved out there. My sister was going to Duke University for graduate school. I was 14. I couldn't even drive yet. And both of my parents, by their companies, got sent overseas to 2 different countries because they were bilingual and bicultural. So there was a choice that my parents had to make. Do we bring me, a US citizen, not fluent in really any Asian language, to either Mongolia or Taiwan or Hong Kong or mainland China, wherever my parents were, because they would get sent by their firm. They were engineers, and they would get sent by their firms to whatever country for a few months at a time, then move to another country for a few months at a time. And this is kind of how their lives were, very, very unstable. So here I am, 14 years old. My parents aren't around. They weren't even around. They weren't around for my 8th grade graduation. It was just like they were absent. And so I grew up with a lot of issues of abandonment. And, just you think about a young child, what that must be like. So I had a lot of issues that I had to deal with from my childhood of being uprooted, forcibly moved across the country several times, usually in the middle of the school year. So when most kids would go away for their Christmas breaks and come back and share all the toys and all the experiences, I was the new kid in a new school. And not only being a new kid is like kind of uncomfortable enough, because as kids, you just want to fit in. But with my face, moving into different, I was like the only Asian kid every time we moved around everywhere. I graduated from high school in North Carolina, at Carolina Friends School in Durham. So I grew up, just having to kind of honestly fend for myself a lot of ways, a lot of times. And just, I had to prove my worth through, the way that I sort of dealt with that was I had to prove my worth, my self-worth through academics, right? Because I didn't have self-worth. I was always the kid that got teased in school, the new kid, looking different. And plus I had just so many identity issues, right? that I had to deal with. And so the first time I actually, now that I've been in LA, like I said, I'm 45 years old. I've been here since 2015. This is the longest. So I'm going on, or actually 2016 is when I settled down here, but I'm going on 15 years. This is the longest. And even within that, I've moved 3 times, but this is the longest stretch I've ever been in one county, you could say, my entire life. So my entire upbringing was kind of, filled with transitions and change. And here's the thing, I didn't like it at all growing up as a kid, right? I just wanted to be like the kid who was just like the other kids, had the same clothes, could have the same experiences. The 2 parents were at home speaking English. But looking back on it as an adult, I'm so thankful for all these experiences because it taught me how to be adaptable. Because I had no choice. It was forced upon me. So I actually got to this point where I was very comfortable with change. I didn't like it, right? When I became an entrepreneur, that decision, it didn't mean I didn't have fear. I had a lot of fear. And that's the thing with a lot of people who are because I know some of your listeners are some are entrepreneurs, some want to be entrepreneurs, some have their side hustles, some want to do that, but don't know what. And so there's a period of transition. But here's the thing, when you want to do something different, when you don't want to do something big in your life, it's going to feel uncomfortable. And there's going to be some massive changes that have to start from the inside outside. Something I always say is like the new you the old you can never make new money. If you want to attract financial abundance in your life, you can't just be the same old, same old. That's what the majority of Americans do, is the same old, same old. And so change is a requisite. If you want to be a leader, change is a required component of becoming a leader, because it's not like you're born. I wasn't born a leader. Like little toddler. Like we all have to learn how to suck our thumbs and then crawl before we can walk, before we can run, before we can stand on our own 2 legs, right? Well, it's the same thing about entrepreneurship and stuff. So when I made the decision, I had that nice, safe, and stable job, and I could have had that job making $140,000 for the rest of my life. I could have had any legal job I wanted to, but was I really going to be maximizing my inner potential? Was I really going to be the best leader and have the most impact just being a government attorney like everybody else? Absolutely not.
Right.
So I was scared. And so the thing about entrepreneurship, or, people who have wealth or are building wealth, it's not that we don't have fear. It's like we still have fear all the time. Right. I still have fear, but there's also a knowing that comes with that. It's a do it anyways, in spite of the fear. So those emotions, see what the average person does in life is they feel these emotions and they go, oh, my gut's trying to tell me I shouldn't take that next step. But that's just an emotional thing. And especially when it comes to finances, we cannot trust our guts, what we call our guts. That's really our fears talking. And if we give in to our fears, we will never experience or attract financial abundance, right? Mm-hmm. So I know now I understand, because I've not only been doing it and living my life this way, but I studied all this stuff about how to attract wealth and leadership, and because leadership and financial abundance goes hand in hand. But I know now when I feel a fear or that emotion come up, that's scared, it's my body telling me, I'm on the right path. If I'm encountering adversity and I'm like, whoa, how am I going to handle this issue? Or, whoa, this goal seems really, really big. I don't know if I can do it. If I feel that self-doubt, I know I'm exactly on the right path. And so you see, it's the opposite of what most people think. Most people feel that fear and they run. I feel it and I rise, right? And I just, that's
I like that idea, the run or rise. We have Yolanda Makumbe mentioned, she said, you have to be willing to take a risk in order to get to a higher return. And, Candace McKenna says, I agree, Yolanda. I think the pandemic has revealed that no job is secure. So, we're in this place, and, people listening in or watching or however they're consuming this information right now, maybe like, okay, Olivia, hold up. You want me to go against my gut. You want me to go against my instincts. But I think that, it's one thing to run away. And it's another thing to confront. Like you're feeling that feeling for a reason. How are you dealing with it? Are you confronting it? Are you running away from it? Because you're not having that experience and that feeling for nothing. You have to deal with it. If you run from it, you're going to run into it again.
Yeah.
I think that's where some people get mixed up.
Yeah.
You can't constantly run from that scary. You can't constantly run from that, ooh, I don't know, because running into the unknown. And I'm gonna tell you, this sister has shown up in my talk so many times. Her name is Elsa. She has her own movie. It's called Frozen. But she has this whole moment where she goes into the unknown. And I think that for those of us who are seeking to have this kind of financial freedom, or freedoms that come with finances, or, just this different lifestyle, not having to worry, having more options, we say we want these things, but we refuse to go into the unknown. We refuse to go into the scary. We refuse to, do the scary thing, take the scary risk, do that thing. But we want this different result, but we don't want to do something different.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So that's the definition of insanity, right? You do the same thing over and over, expect a different result. You want those things. Everybody wants to be wealthy. Everybody wants to have the creature comforts and live a very financially secure life. But there's a big difference between wanting and willing to work for it. And, I want to pose this question to your listeners, like, who put that jelly in your donut? Meaning, where did that original thought come from, where you think that your emotions should dictate your actions? Because that's what most people do. Most people feel like their emotions are something separate from them. And we let default, through lack of training, through lack of self-awareness, we let those emotions dictate our behavior, right? But the secret to success is being able to recognize those emotions, but have control over them. right? Being financially successful requires emotional discipline and emotional control. It doesn't mean shutting off the emotions or shutting off the fear. No, it's owning the fear, owning those emotions, and being able to reflect on that and saying, wait, why am I feeling this way about that? Why am I feeling this way? And not letting it just stop you dead in your tracks. Right. So now it's like, because I'm very uncomfortable being uncomfortable. When I feel frustrated, when I feel mad about something, instead of reacting, which is what I always used to do. I grew up in a household that was very impatient. I personally was very impatient. I would get very easily triggered, and I'd be very annoyed at everything because I modeled my parents, and I saw my parents constantly bickering, often about money, because that's what a lot of kids grew up hearing. Oh, we don't have enough, just not enough money. I was no exception. And so I was quick to judge, quick to lash out, quick to just say what was on my mind, as opposed to recognizing that there's a very big difference between reacting, which is what everybody does, and thoughtful deliberation and responding. Right? So the emotions, when the emotions come up, and it's, for me, I'm able to, because I have this self-control now, I'm able to say, whoa, here's my emotion. Okay, why am I feeling like this? And then very quickly pivot, very quickly respond. I'm not sitting there, I don't have to go up on the top of the mountain and pray and meditate for, 2 days. I don't need to do that. I've now trained myself and mastered my mind to be able to go through that in a matter of seconds. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's not avoiding that, because if you avoid it, you just try to brush something under the rug, it comes back tenfold, even fiercer the next time. And these adversities that are happening in your life, they're for a reason, right? I always say this: things happen for you, not to you. Right. So you don't learn that lesson. You have something bad happen to you and you don't learn that lesson. Guess what? It doesn't matter if it's in your relationship. It's going to come back even worse that time around until you get the lesson.
Let me tell you. Okay, so let's put a pin right there. So that is a phrase that I have used. And who knew that my mommy journey would take me on this whole thing? But, learn the lesson. I've used it now with 4 kids. So I'm pretty sure I've said it to the 4-year-old by now. Learn the lesson, learn the lesson, learn the lesson. So many of us find ourselves in these situations or situationships. But that it shifts our mentality, which is another thing that you brought up earlier in your introduction. You talked about a mentality, but I think, connecting that, learning the lessons, talking about your mentality, it brings you to this whole idea of what you brought up, which is a soft skill that leaders need to have. I've been on this whole kick all year of soft skills of the month. There's so many soft skills that leaders need to have, but self-control is one of them. Self-control and discipline definitely go hand in hand, but it has so much to do with your mindset, to do with your mentality, and whether or not you're learning these lessons along the way. Because as long as you're living, you need to be learning, because things are going to keep happening. You're going to keep having these experiences. The difference between a leader and a follower is what leaders do with the lessons that they learn.
Yes.
And it really, from what I'm hearing you talk about, and as we delve deeper into this, it also makes the difference between those who are able to attract this financial abundance and those who put up walls against it. I think sometimes we don't realize that when we take that we decide to run instead of rise, that we are running away from what's on the other side of that wall, which could be our financially abundant breakthrough.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, so we don't run. Sometimes you got to literally run into the wall to break it, to get to the other side of it. But we find ourselves running away from it so many times. We don't want to do the hard thing. We don't want to deal with the ugly thing. And some of that is even just our mentality. We don't want to deal with our own crap.
Yep. Okay, write this down. You might want to rewind this too. Everything you've ever wanted in life, whether it's relationship, money, recognition, whatever it is just on the other side of, I don't want to do it.
Oh.
So those things that you don't want to do, just like you said, running through a wall, you got to do. That's your test. That's your opportunity, right? To turn your test into your testimony. You got to run right through it. That's exactly why that perceived obstacle is there. It's for you to learn, right? Mm-hmm. It's for you to learn the lesson. It's not about the lesson about other people. It's not something exterior to you. It's something internally. It's what do I have to learn about myself? Right. Because financial abundance is totally dictated by what's up here. You look at everybody who's financially successful in life. What do they have in common? Were they born in the same place? Do they come from the same families? No. I used to have this idea that, the only way you can become wealthy is to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You have to be born into one of those families. And, it's interesting. My mother just passed away less than 2 months ago. And I was, at her house, and I was going through some old stuff. Well, my mom had kept a diary that I wrote when I was 11 years old. Wow. Okay. So I had a window into my own 11-year-old self. And I was reading this thing like a novel, and I was crying. I felt so bad for my little 11-year-old self because I don't even remember this. It's not a conscious thought, but my entire diary was about money and about not having it.
Oh, wow.
And everything in that diary, every experience, my relationship with my sister, everything in my life came down to money. There was some commentary in my diary, every single entry that was, I wish we had it. We don't have enough. Something even little like there was a fair at my school, these little school fairs, right? You buy little tickets to go on fair rides. And I wrote in my diary, there's this school fair coming up, but I'm not even going to talk to mom and dad about it because I already know what they're going to say. We can't afford to buy the tickets. What's the point in asking? And so I didn't even tell them and share with them about this thing that I really wanted to participate in because my perception was that they couldn't afford $5, $10 to allow me to go participate, right? So I grew up with this total lack of mindset. And because of that, when I went to go work for a nonprofit. So remember, I'm an adult. I am in my 20s, and I'm working at this nonprofit helping battered women who are in prison. And to me, at that time, I was 27 years old. So I was like actually almost 30, okay? So this is my mindset as a full-fledged adult. I thought, again, if you have money, it means you screwed over some people. It means you're selfish. It means you hurt somebody else to get to that financial position. So I wore it as a badge of honor that I was broke. Like I would tell everybody, this outfit I got at the secondhand store for $2. These shoes. Okay, so my whole wardrobe was from secondhand stores. Right. I cooked my own food. I didn't go out to eat. I even sold my car because I can afford it. And I walked to work, or I took the bus to work, or I bought a bicycle, which I stopped doing because in San Francisco, everybody steals bicycles. So I went through 4 bicycles that got stolen with a lock on it. I'm like, forget about it. I'm just losing money. I'm walking to work. So that was my mentality. It was like, you're bad. Like wealth equates bad, something negative, something, and I used to be like, if I'm going to work with the people, I got to be like the people. I got to be just as poor as the women in prison that I'm representing. Actually, I was poorer than the women in prison because I had $60,000 in school debt and they didn't have debt. I had debt, right? So yes, it was a badge. It was a badge of honor for me. Like, I don't have money. Therefore, I'm a good person. So was it any wonder I financially was in a very bad position? You're right. And so now I've come full circle. I'm a cash millionaire. I got plenty of money. I got lots of money coming in. I don't worry about finances now. And now I talk to people every single day about money because we have to destigmatize these conversations about money. Money is not bad, right? But think about the phrasing we have about money. Oh, money doesn't grow on trees. There's this idea that like, if you have money makes you evil. I actually hear people say this sometimes. I live a very simple lifestyle. I don't want money because I kind of like who I am now. And I'm like, what does that mean? Well, you have money, you're going to become a different person. You're going to become selfish because you have money. No, you know what money allows me to do? Money allows me to give a lot more money away to people who need it more than I do.
Right. And the thing is, people try to, so there's a biblical verse that's talking about, they try to say, the Bible says that, that money is evil. No, it's the love of money, and that you want to just keep it, hoard it, and goes along with that kind of like gluttonous, greedy spirit that it's evil. It's not the money.
Mm-hmm.
Money can change your life and the life of others. Just as you said, it's not the money that is evil. It's the love of getting it and getting it and getting it and getting it. If you're not going to just hoard money, because if you go into other biblical texts, you can talk about, many a parable that talks about hoarding things and not doing things properly with the things that have been given to you. You're supposed to give. You're supposed to open your hand in order to receive things. You got to give to receive, right? Mm-hmm. But people who are loving money and that's all they care about, they're going to find themselves broke real quick because they're selfish. That is true selfish. But to have money and to work with money and allow money to allow you to help others and bless others and change others' lives, and even to showcase to others, this is how you can live, not in a way that is showy or saying belittling anybody else. But no, you can have this. You can feel like this. You can have these options. You can have this freedom. But sometimes you just got to see somebody else who looks like you to do it.
Yep. There you go. There you go. It's all mindset. Money, I truly believe this. Money accentuates who you are. Yeah. When I was broke, I was still generous, but me giving away $5 is not going to really help out a nonprofit that's struggling to keep the lights on. But if I can write a check for $5,000, that is going to make a significant difference there, right? You look at me, I'm somebody, if you looked at how I dress or how I walk, you don't think I have money. And I'm not saying I'm like, well, all that, but I got a lot more money than a lot of people in this world,
right?
Okay. But I drive a 2013 Hyundai Elantra. That's pretty dirty right now, as a matter of fact. But when it gets that dirty, my wife actually takes it for me to the car wash. She can't stand it. And we go to $10 car wash.
But you got a kid. That's totally understandable.
Well, I'm talking about the outside dirty. The inside, that's a whole nother story, right? Lots of snacks everywhere. Yesterday, my wife was like, why are there so many like cheese puffs all over the kitchen floor? I'm like, I had no idea. I didn't even know she was eating cheese puffs. Okay. But the Trader Joe's kind, so a little bit better. But my point is for you to have money doesn't mean you got to be all flash. And here's the thing. If you look at most people who are super flashy, they're actually the ones that don't have money.
Right.
Most of the people that are like cash millionaires, whatever, they're running around living very humble lives. You're not out there talking about all the money we make or have or whatever, because that's not, but see, I don't come from money. So I'm still me. I just have a much bigger ability to help out. I like being able to buy things for other people. Not because that's honestly not my love language, but I like to show appreciation. Buying books on leadership. I buy so many books on leadership for people. I'm constantly, because I'm sharing information. I don't benefit in any way, but I like being able to do that. But I don't want to be in a position to be like, do I pay the light bill this month? Or do I go give this homeless guy a meal? Like, I don't want to be in that position. And there's no reason why anybody needs to be in that position. I don't care if you're Black, white, Asian, what neighborhood you grew up in, whatever. Look at all the successful people in life. There is no commonality other than in terms of what they look like, where they came from, or their previous jobs or careers. But they do have a commonality in mindset. And that's the thing. For you to have financial abundance, you need to be able to think abundantly. And unless we have somebody outside of us that's helping to keep us accountable and help say, wait, why did you say that? Because we say things all the time. I realized just recently, just this past day, I realized I was telling people I don't need money. Like I was saying, like, I don't do this. I don't work hard, because I work very hard in my business. I was saying a lot. I don't need the money. Then I was like, wait, what am I affirming here? I'm like, I don't want to say that anymore. I just don't, it's true. I don't need it to survive, but shoot, bring it on. The more that comes in, the more that goes out. That's, I want to give away like so much money. I cannot give away the amount of money that I want to give away yet. I'm not done. So why should I be saying I don't need it? Well, it's not about me needing it. It's about everybody else needing it.
Right. And I attract it.
I attract it.
I can give it out. But I love what you were saying, that you caught your own words. So that's something that we talk about in our house a lot, especially when we're dealing with our kids, that we watch the words that we say over them, that we watch the words that we speak to them, so that we try to alter the words that they hear. So it may be different than the words that we heard growing up, but we understand the power of words. And so, like you just said, I don't need money. Hold on, whoa. Yes, I do need money. I need money to do what I desire to do for others, that I feel like I've been called to do for others. And in this world, that requires money. So yeah, I need money. I'm not going to be money hungry, but I will accept money.
I will accept it.
Yes, yeah. You don't have to pay me in bread. You don't have to pay me in gift certificates to restaurants. You can pay me in cash. Why? Because that will allow me to follow my calling, to walk into my purpose even further. Because there's certain things that I'm purposed to do that is attached to other people. So if I'm attracting the money, that's fine. Because somebody, like you said, needs that $5,000 check.
Yep.
And if I will be the one to write it because I'm willing, that might be why I am attracting the money, because my spirit had already said that I'm going to be willing to write the check.
Mm-hmm.
Get attracted, because maybe it's not on them to attract, but it's on me. And because my heart is right, I'm going to attract it because I'm going to write it.
Yes. The universe is just going to give you what you're asking for. So we have to be very careful with the words that leave our lips and the thoughts that we have, because thoughts are powerful too, whether we even speak them, but especially if we speak them. It's especially powerful, right? So we have to, this is a difference between people who are really wealthy and people who are not, who just want it, but they don't understand these principles, is that wealthy people are great receivers, right? You have to be ready to receive the wealth. You have to already think of yourself as wealthy. You have to be constantly working on this mindset, and of course, doing the work. You can't just sit there and be like, all right, money, come to me, I'm ready. Like, it doesn't quite work like that. Like, there's some work and effort you have to put in, but at a minimum, you have to be there long before the money shows up in your life. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people are very unconsciously pushing wealth and abundance away. Don't even know it. Like, what's a way to push it away is complaint. So many people complain and they realize they complain. Or somebody gives them a compliment and they say something to discourage them.
Can we talk about that?
Let's talk about that.
How many people cannot accept a compliment? I mean, you can tell somebody, oh, you're looking really nice today. Oh, this old thing. Stop it. Thank you. So everybody watching right now, practice. I'm going to give you a compliment. You ready? You look amazing.
Thank you.
Yes,
that's it.
Thank you. You don't have to be guilty. You don't have to feel bad that you know what? Your hair is looking really sharp today. Thank you. Yeah.
It's so easy, isn't it?
It is, but once again, I think it is a mindset that we have been taught, that to accept these types of compliments is being vain or, being haughty. No, it's not. Receive the compliment. I try my best whenever I go places, which I think my daughter is starting to do it because she's noticed that I do it all the time. I try to compliment women. Mm-hmm. So that they can feel a compliment that they know has nothing behind it except for, you look absolutely beautiful. Oh yes. My gosh, where did you get that outfit? And it's not that I'm making up something to say to them. I am genuinely looking for something to compliment, because we're so used to not getting it in a good way, or we can't receive it. And I always pray that my heart is seen and heard in those compliments. I love complimenting women.
Yes. Could you imagine what our world would look like, Dr. Anita, if everybody just came from this place of, I'm just going to freely give authentic compliments to everybody I come across? Could you imagine what our world would look like? And I understand this because growing up, now I'm Chinese and Japanese, but the Chinese culture is humility, which in the Chinese culture way looks like being dismissive of any compliment. So a compliment comes through, like let's say you're cooking a meal. So, oh, this is delicious. oh no, it tastes horrible. Like that's a Chinese way. Like that's how you're supposed to respond. Like, no, this whole thing. Oh no. Okay. So that's like built into our culture. So this is what I grew up around. But think about, again, the law of attraction and the way the universe works. If somebody's giving you a compliment and you don't express gratitude and appreciation for that thing in your life that somebody else is complimenting, the universe says, well, why should I give you more if you don't even appreciate what you have?
Wow. Mm-hmm. You know, and I don't think that people always equate this. Sometimes it is false humbleness with, you know, non-appreciation. You are beautiful. Oh, no, not me. You know, I have, and that people will find something quick to talk about, you know, oh, Lord, look at my stomach. Oh, I got a pimple today. Oh, my hair is a hot mess. No, boo, stop. You are beautiful, because sometimes people are seeing the very essence of you, and they didn't see a pimple until you pointed it out. They didn't notice that your gut was still, like I tell people all the time, you know, when I look at my gut, because I said eventually it's gonna go away, but you know, I look like I have not yet finished giving birth, but it's all right because she's gonna go away. That's going away. But I had to learn to embrace her and all that she is, because then and only then I think can we work in tandem to get rid of it.
Yeah. Can I say with women especially, and especially women of color, we need to stop apologizing for who we are. Like, do you know that a lot of women, like men don't do this, but when we're, oh, I'm sorry, but I'm like, what's stop? So I'm constantly stopping women from, what are you apologizing for? You don't, like, women are so quick to say, I'm sorry for themselves, some aspect of themselves. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do this fast enough. So what are we telling ourselves subliminally when we're constantly apologizing? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so emotional. Why are you apologizing for that? That should be your strength. I'm emotional. I own it. I control my emotions. Oh, I'm sorry for being so emotional. Like, no, you know what? Actually, people need to be more vulnerable. That's a good thing. But when we're constantly saying that to ourselves, it's like an insult to ourselves. Yes. How can we ever expect to attract better, more, you know, financial abundance, success in relationship, jobs, everything, if we're constantly apologizing for ourselves?
Right, because that also means that you're not embracing that part of yourself. So like I was talking to one of my kids today. I said, until you accept that this is, you will never deal with it. Mm-hmm. How can you get better, do better, attract better if you are never dealing with the who of you, what you really are, the what of your thoughts? If you're never dealing with it, because you are either pushing it away, excusing it away, hiding from it, because there are cultures and people in cultures that are the sweep under the rug, like you talked about before. And that may be in Chinese culture, it's in a lot African American culture, it's in a lot of cultures that we just don't deal with what happened because we don't.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. Sometimes you gotta take the rug up, roll it up, go beat the rug outside, get all the dirt out of the rug. But then all that stuff is under the rug, you better vacuum that up, mop it up, do whatever you need to do, clean it up, because otherwise it's never clean, it's never dealt with. And you're going to step out on that rug and some stuff will fly.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And you're going to attract more dirt. Dirt will attract dirt. Crap attracts crap. Love attracts love. Mm-hmm. Wealth can attract wealth. I mean, your wealth may be your $5 right now. Maybe you put $5 in the savings. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
$5. Just like in the Little Rustlers. I got $1. I got $1.
There you go. It's the habits.
Have it and let it attract more. Let it turn into more. Let it make more. But be happy about what you got. Yes. And don't be ashamed of your $5.
Right.
That 5, maybe 500.
Yes.
If you work it right.
Yes. So here's the thing. I want all your listeners to know gratitude is so important, right? But there's a difference between just being grateful and settling.
Yeah.
Being grateful and wanting more and pushing for more. And what I want all your listeners to do is I want you to be grateful every single minute of every single day and have a daily practice of gratitude where you have some time in the day where you're consciously reflecting on all the things in your life that you're grateful for. And in that same breath, speaking about your future vision that you're chasing.
Mm.
Those are two consistent concepts. Most people don't think that. Most people think like, oh, I don't want to seem greedy. I have enough. I have more than the next person. I'm grateful for that. I'm not starving.
Right.
But that's not the baseline you should be using, because if you want to go somewhere in life, otherwise you'll stay there your entire life.
Yeah. So that made me think that we don't need to be grateful and settle, we need to be grateful and growing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't allow your gratitude to make you complacent. Yes, be grateful. I am so grateful for everything I have. I have a home, I have a family, we have these things, but there's so much more we can do. And it's not even about us.
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to stop growing because I have more people to serve.
Yes. And those of you who are out there who are maybe more senior, okay, this is not an age thing. Everybody starts their leadership journey at a different point in life. Most people, not until you're well into adulthood, at least your 30s, in a job that you don't like, you get to the point where you're dissatisfied, and that pushes you into searching. Okay. Most people, if you're comfortable in your life, you don't have a need to search. So when I was an attorney, I wasn't necessarily like, I hate my job. I wasn't like at that point, because I didn't even know enough about what my life could look like to even be dissatisfied. Right? Does that make sense? So me making $140,000 a year as a lawyer, I thought that was pretty good. I didn't know that people make that a month. People make that a day. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, this was completely outside of my reality. Right? So you got to chase your dreams, because in this country, you're either going to work to make somebody else's dream come true, or you're going to make your own dream come true. That's it. There's no two ways about it. It's a very binary system. So only you determine which side of the tracks you fall on. You're going to spend your entire life settling and then making somebody else's dream come true, working for somebody else, just getting a paycheck just to pay the utility bills, and then you die. Or do you want to be the person that says, no, you know what, darn it, I have dreams, I have goals, and they're constantly changing and they're getting bigger, and I'm going after them, and I feel the fear, but every day I'm working on my disciplines and I'm mastering my craft, whatever industry you're in, and you just keep going at it, and you get knocked down, you get back up, and you get knocked down, and then you spend less time till you get back up. And that's actually how you build yourself, and you build yourself as a leader. And I'm going to tell you this, if money is important, even though you guys say money's not important to me, if you're in the room by yourself and you have an honest conversation with yourself, money's important. We just don't talk about it. We don't like to say it for whatever hangups we have in our head. Okay. Money's important for everybody. It really is. Not the love of money, but money itself. There's nothing wrong. And in fact, I want to say, those of you guys who are listening, you're good people. We need more good people to be wealthy.
Right.
Okay. Because wealth does buy access. And there's too many people at the decision-making tables of institutions, schools, corporations, government, that are not your level of integrity or your character, and you need to be at those tables.
Yes.
And the only way that you're going to get into those tables is by having certain relationships with people. And the way to get relationships, I'll tell you this, people like me, Dr. Renita, myself, leadership, we want to hang around other leaders. We don't really want to hang around with non-leaders. Like, we're going somewhere in life and we know, and we want to hang out with other people who are like-minded. So to get into those leadership circles, you kind of got to elevate your game. And so we need you to build wealth. And it's so true what you said, like $5, if you're struggling, you saving $5, that means way more than somebody like me saving $5. Okay.
Right.
So at whatever level you're at, it's very important that you create the habits now. I didn't become a millionaire overnight. I started from saving a little bit of money, and then it grew, and then it grew, and then I pushed myself. And I'm like, if I can save $100, I can save $1,000. If I can save $1,000, I can save 10,000. It's just adding another zero. What's the big deal? And I kept having this thought process, and I grew and grew and grew. But that journey happened over 10 years of my entrepreneurship journey. And I'm just getting started now. So if you're listening to this and you're 60 years old and you're like, well, this would have been great 40 years ago. No, it's great now. 40 years ago, your 40-year-old self wouldn't have listened. Right. Now you'll listen. So whatever age you're at, right? Whatever age you're at, take it in and start now.
Right.
You know, life expectancy goes up. If you're looking at like insurance companies, the life expectancy tables go up to age 120. So I'm pretty sure there's no 120-year-olds listening to this right now.
And if
So
you are, welcome.
Welcome. Everybody's welcome. But if you're 6 years old, you're only at the halfway mark, right? So just get after it. Make your dreams come true. You can build wealth. I don't care where you are, wherever you are in life. You can build wealth if you give it enough time and you work on it daily. You absolutely can.
I love it. And, so one thought that I want to make sure we bring in before we exit is that you talked about possibilities. But then as we were talking, you brought up the fact that, you had to be able to see these possibilities, or you had to see that there was something else in order to go for something else. So many of us allow ourselves to be limited in the things that we see could even be possible. We do not put ourselves around people who have things that we don't. We don't put ourselves in places that are different, way different, like that are uncomfortably different than what we've ever known. So I think about, one of the greatest experiences that I ever had was studying abroad. I studied abroad in Barbados, and Barbados is a totally different culture, a totally different country. Even though some people who looked like me, they weren't really me. They knew I was different, but I found somebody who liked me enough that was like my brother, and he made everybody believe that I was related to him.
I love it.
But I put myself in this situation that was totally out of my norm, was away from anybody and anything that I knew. Thank goodness, I was there with other students that I knew, but it wasn't a whole lot of them that I knew. But you put yourself in this place, in this space that gives you a different possibility. In my mind, I am going to own a home in Barbados before it's all said and done. Nobody else in my house has ever been to Barbados. I don't care. We're all going. But, we just had to see that it was possible. And there's another place we could live and other things that we could do. If you don't ever see the possibilities of life, because your possibilities are limited to only the things that you see around you, then you're never going to go for greater. So I am so grateful to know Olivia. Olivia shows me a different possibility for my life. And Olivia and I have some things in common. We have a very similar energy, as you all see. But she's done things that I haven't done. She's lived in a place that I haven't lived. She lives a life that I haven't lived. And so I see a different possibility, which makes it alters my go get, because I see other things that I can get. I'm literally attached to another person. Like, I could probably call her tomorrow to talk about something.
Of course.
She is, but the thing is, so now she shows me possibility through connection. Leaders, you got to connect yourself to people who are going to show you different possibilities. You got to connect yourself and go see places and things that can push you to another possibility, so that you actually go for something else because you've seen it.
Yep.
And not just on TV, not just virtually, but literally touched it, smelled it, talked to it, interacted with it, whatever it is. You got to see the possibility.
You know what I did yesterday, Renia? Yesterday, we do this thing called Dream Sell. So on Sundays is my day, really go inwards, and I resell myself a dream of like what's next in my life. And so my wife and I decided to go drive down the coast. We're like, let's go figure out a neighborhood we'd want to live in, like our next place, right? And so we drove down these neighborhoods, and we found a neighborhood on the beach, and it was like beautiful. And we're like, oh, we put on Zillow, like, how much are these homes over here? Okay, the average home price was about $6 million there. There was another house that was 28 million, but it was too gaudy. I was like, oh, I don't like that. But the houses that I liked were all around 6 million, And for me, I got really excited. I'm like, 6 million. I'm like, oh, we can totally like figure out how to do, we have to work. It's not like I could just get it today. I don't want to get on a mortgage like that. But that's within the realm of possibility. Okay. So I do this now. And then when I get into that house, now I'm going to go drive around the neighborhoods, that are $30 million homes. And I'm going to go resell myself that as a dream. And not because I love the house, but I have other interests for it. I want to use it as a place for my business too, to bring in big groups of people from all across the country, have a retreat on my premises. And like, it's always the wealth and the material possessions for me is always attached to how is it benefiting somebody else or a community. It's always about being in service to somebody else. So I just want to make that very clear. It's not about acquiring possessions. It's about being able to create experiences for other people that they on their own cannot have. So I think it's extremely important to constantly stretch your vision by your associations, and just exactly like Dr. Renita, what you said, go out there, touch your dreams. Go see that. I would have thought that was impossible years ago. Now it gets me excited. It's like a little scary, like, ooh, how are we going to do this? But I'm excited because I know I'm going to manifest it.
Right. Well, okay, so we are at our hour. Olivia, if there was one piece, and it can be something you're reiterating or something new that we haven't discussed already, that you want to make sure that people leave with today, what would be that one thing?
That fear is an acronym. It's not a noun. FEAR. It's face everything and rise.
I love it.
You feel the stuff, go. My organization is called Rise Financial, right? Just face everything and rise. Just go. Get out there. Go after your dreams. Yes, with the fear. Yes, with the doubt. Yes, with the uncertainty. But leverage other people around you. You all have a relationship with Dr. Renita. You should hang out with her more by being on these podcasts, being a guest, reading her books, getting out there, and increasing and elevating your associations. I
love it. And so what I find very interesting, once again, not by happenstance, that my word of the year was rise.
Look at that.
That was my word of the year. It came to me. I waited for it, and it came to me right at the top of January, and it was rise.
That's funny. Well, see, no coincidences in life.
Well, Olivia, I am sure that people are like, wow, that's an amazing woman. I need to connect with her. How can they get in contact with you?
I'm very easy to find on Instagram. I don't post a whole lot. I like talking to people so much. I'm not such a huge social media person. But Olivia Sula-Wang, Olivia Sula-Wang, just at. My email, I'll give you my email too, is oliviasula-wang@gmail.com. Super easy to find. Just send me a DM if you're on Instagram, or if you prefer email, send me an email. I'm not the quickest to get back on email, but we can start a relationship, totally fine. But give me a follow on Instagram, and we can connect there. But seriously, thank you so much, Dr. Renita. This has been a lot of fun. I seriously, I could go for like a 10-hour long marathon podcast with you on this topic.
Oh yeah. We could have stayed forever. And that's why. So I have to watch my time, because there's always this, I've had such amazing guests now for 35 weeks, that we could go on and on and on and on. But I do understand that I have to pay attention to other people's time, because I don't want them to get lost in the sauce. I want them to get what they get. And who knows when we may have another opportunity to get together again and share again. But Olivia, thank you so much for giving us so many things to think about, so many things to chew on, so many things to help us shift our mindset about what we're doing in our lives, with our lives, that may or may not be attracting financial abundance, and some activities we may be doing that may be intentionally pushing it away. We could do so much more. We just have to be okay with attracting it and then delving it from there. So Olivia, once again, thank you for being on here this week.
Awesome. It was my pleasure. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.
So as you all have seen now, for 35 weeks, I've kept true to my word. Absolutely amazing guests, absolutely amazing information that can really be life-changing and definitely change your leadership habits and the way you lead in life. I love you all so much. I'll be right back here for week 36 next Monday at 9 o'clock. I hope that you will join me. If you're watching on the replay, make sure you throw a little hashtag replay in the comments so that we know you are here. Know that I love you, love you, love you. And as always, I encourage you to keep your leadership all the way live. I'll see you right here next week. Bye.